Good afternoon. My name is Cordelia Wilson, and I'm Communications Manager at Attico ITS Europe. It is our absolute pleasure to welcome you here today to our press conference called ITS Quality of Life: How is Innovation Making Mobility Better? In advance of the largest international congress of its kind, we wanted to give you, the press, the opportunity to ask questions to the brightest and the best of, and all the voices of industry. It is such an evolving sector with innovations occurring on an almost daily basis that it's hard to keep up. Well, for me anyway. So, following our panel's presentation and questions, you will also be offered an exclusive tour of our demonstrations. So, let's get started. Our first panelist is the host, of course, from the city of Copenhagen. Since early this year, Kirsten Berin Nielsen is the Deputy Director and Head of City Development at the Technical and Environmental Administration of the City of Copenhagen. He's the perfect person to speak to us today.
Well, thank you very much. And first of all, I'm very pleased to welcome you all to Copenhagen. It's such a pleasure to see all these distinguished panelists here today. So thank you so much for coming. The City of Copenhagen is a proud host of this year's Congress. We have been counting the days, months, even years since we were appointed host back in 2016. This Congress means a lot to us. In Copenhagen, quality of life, the theme of this Congress, is the core of everything we do and everything we aim for. We simply can't wait to show you how we employ ITS to create real quality of life for our citizens. To us, it's all about finding solutions that are smarter, greener, and healthier. Because a green city is a precondition for a livable and healthy city. And to us, it's not just about creating or applying fancy technologies. We use technology to improve the lives of our citizens. Technology is a means to creating quality of life for Copenhageners. They always come first. Copenhagen's driving ambition is to become the first carbon-neutral capital city by 2025. And to achieve this, we want to be a leader within green technology and innovation. Copenhagen is known as the world's best city for cyclists. We definitely want to keep this image and this position. In actual fact, 59% of Copenhagen's inhabitants commute by bicycle, even on rainy days. This is because we have developed an extensive network of 379 kilometers of bicycle lanes that allow our cyclists to pedal more quickly and more safely. We have also introduced variable message signs or displays for cyclists and green waves adapted for cycling speed. Citizens come first, but we as a city are not scared of technology. We have invested 8 million euros in ITS solutions. And the hope is to increase investment so we can see real results in reduced travel time and congestion. Eco driving is another ITS solution that we are testing in the city to further Copenhagen's green agenda. A multimodal app designed for trucks, lorries, buses and cars informs drivers what the optimal speed is to achieve a green wave through intersections. Eco driving is an approach to driving which the city expects will improve fuel efficiency and reduce carbon emissions and help us achieve our goal of becoming carbon neutral. As part of this innovation, I'm very proud that all delegates will be able to experience and test Copenhagen's green mobility solutions firsthand, thanks to the MAS or MAS app from Reiseplanen. Reiseplanen is a journey planner that allows the delegates to test more means of transportation. The new generation is much more than a simple journey planner that maps out which buses, harbour buses, metro lines or trains to take, but now also includes journeys by taxi, carpooling, shared cars and city bikes. As you can hear, we are constantly looking into how to make the city a better place to live and visit. However, there have been challenges too. When testing and implementing new solutions, we have learned that it takes time to optimize new technology. Therefore, I really look forward to learning from all of you and experience innovative demonstrations, the exhibition and sessions, and I look forward to get inspired. Enjoy the Congress and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. So our next speaker is Jacob Bounsgaard, and he is the organizer of this Congress and also my boss. And he has been leading Ertico ITS Europe since early 2017. He has 26 years experience working on transport and mobility issues. He has worked for the FIA in Europe, Middle East and Africa, as well as for the FIA Foundation, campaigning for vehicle safety technologies. Go for it.
Thank you, Cordelia. And thank you everyone for coming to Copenhagen. As the city of Copenhagen welcomed you to the city, I would like to welcome you to the ITS World Congress in Copenhagen. This is a huge event for us. It takes years to organize, and we have a brilliant team within our organization who is making sure that you will get this enormous treat that you will see kicking off at 4 o'clock. The reason why we selected Copenhagen was that we felt that Copenhagen can offer something special when we talk about smart mobility solutions. And this was in competition with cities like Milan, Munich, Dublin, Barcelona and Moscow. So it's I'm quite proud, as being also born in Copenhagen, to bring the Congress for only the second time. The World Congress is visiting the Nordic countries, and 9 years ago it was in Stockholm, and now here in Copenhagen. So why have we been organizing this ITS World Congress for 25 years? Well, it's all about developing smart solutions, and developing solutions means very often to work together, public-private cooperation, working across sectors, because no sector can alone develop a smart mobility solution of the future. So that's why we decided 25 years ago to make the Olympic Games of ITS and bringing all the stakeholders together, and that we did in Paris in '94. And since then, this has just been a growing event where we have more and more experts working in the smart mobility area and feeling that the ITS World Congress is the place to be when you want to see what is coming, what is on the market, and make cooperation for the future. So it's of course it's a huge work. I can give you some of the figures for this week. We are going to be some 10,000 participants. It's the largest that we have had so far in Europe. And this is from 93 countries, so from all over the world. We will have 250 sessions. We will have almost 7,000 square meters of exhibition with 400 exhibitors. Then we will have 250 B2B meetings for business planning, and then we will have a startup village. It's something that we see growing in the area of smart mobility solutions. There are more and more startups who want to be part of this, and we have 30 startups that have been selected from around the world to participate in our startup village. We will have more than 20 ministers, more than 30 mayors. We will have a high-level roundtable discussion with them, and there we will also have more than 50 high-level industry representatives. We will have more than 25 receptions during this week, and we will have also outside demonstrations. You will be able to see it after this conference. We have 12 demonstrations outside, and we have 17 technical visits in the city of Copenhagen. So plenty to do, and on top of it, you will also see the launch of new activities. Some of the SAFE here, Huawei, VW, Panasonic, Qualcomm. They will all present to you some of the latest from their side, so take the opportunity as well to see what is moving and what will be offered to the citizens in the future when it comes to smart mobility solutions. Thank you very much.
you very much. We are honoured today to be joined by Jean Todt, who is the elected president of the FIA and the UN Special Envoy for Road Safety. Thank you very much. He is perhaps best known for his role as the director who led the Ferrari Formula One team through its most dominant, successful period of racing. Please.
Thank you. So, good afternoon, everybody. First, let me thank the representative of the city of Copenhagen and my friend Jacob Bangsgaard, the CEO of Ertico, for hosting us in Copenhagen. And clearly, it's a good choice to be in Copenhagen because, I mean, you are one inspiration. And in a way, for me, with my interest for improving road safety around the world, I wish every single country will be at the level of Denmark. 5.5 million population country. I mean, it's, when I speak about fatality, it's always one too much. But compared to other parts around the world, you are among the best. 120 fatalities, I think, last year, about 1,000 injured people with disability, and it's about 3.5 victims out of 100,000. And I was just in Africa a few weeks back. It's 10 times more. So that's, I mean, you are the, but what we wish to achieve, and linked also to the 2011-2010 UN Decade of Action, which mandate was to halve the number of victims by 2020, and unfortunately, it will not happen. Simply to remind that every year, 1.3 million people die on the roads. About 50 million people are injured. It's the number one cause of fatality for youth between 14 to 29. And every day also 500 kids die on the roads. And in a way we are living a fascinating time because we are kind of hostaged between high technology, and we speak a lot about connected car, connected car, autonomous car, but we must think about the world left behind, where they don't know what is safety belt. I was yesterday in Turkey, and I mean, nobody is using a helmet driving a motorbike. And here, maybe it's something which could be improved in Denmark. But I know that's would not be maybe the most popular decision, but I think everybody should have one helmet being on a bicycle. Because I mean, again, it's linked with the technology. I mean, bicycles are much more efficient than they used to be. I mean, they go about twice the same speed, and we know that if somebody on a bicycle is falling, I mean, probably the skull will be the first to hurt the floor with terrible consequences. But I know that, I mean, for different reasons, it's not yet politically accepted, but it's something I will very strongly encourage, and it can be done. So going back to what is happening in what I call the world behind, it's fascinating to see all what can be achieved. So it's kind of being in a toy shop, being here in the ITS organization, because as Jacob was mentioning, it's about 400 different presentations during 5 days, and every year it's more interest, and we could see that in different opportunities this year, including International Transport Forum in Leipzig, where also we saw quite a lot of new advanced technologies. I think also of the show which we have now in Las Vegas, with making shadow to the traditional motor show like Paris, Geneva or Frankfurt. So clearly we are facing a revolution. And I must say sometimes I'm a bit skeptical, because I personally, but maybe I'm too old for that, I don't believe that we should only rely on autonomous car, on connected car, but we still have now available a lot of fascinating technology which are, I mean, I will call them driver aids. And to give one example, ESC, electronic stability control. It's absolutely fascinating, cheap technology, and I will encourage manufacturers also to make sure, because again, talking about the developed world and the developing world, what is absolutely unacceptable is that manufacturers are selling two different of cars depending of which market we are talking. So you will see a car here in Copenhagen, and a car which looks the same in Colombia. In fact, it's not the same. And you don't have the ESC, you don't have the same facilities with the airbag, and it's something we have been talking with the manufacturers about minimum safety standard. So maybe some manufacturers, did apply, but mainly it's a lot which can be done with that. And talking with my mandate as the UN Secretary General Special Envoy for Road Safety, we are talking about road conventions. We are talking with the manufacturers about minimum safety standards in order to address those principles. So a show like this one, it's clearly one opportunity also to doing some networking, to reassess the situation, to probably to encourage manufacturers, suppliers to adapt that and to make that available for any country. We have also, of course, a very, very difficult topic to address. I don't know how many years you can use the same car in Denmark. I would suggest about 7 to 8 years. And unfortunately, what happened? The cars which are forbidden in countries like Denmark, where they go? They go to developing countries. So talking about, human right, I think it's something which really need to be addressed, and it's something. I'm passionate to speak about that. We have quite a few worrying concerns. I'm just now moving on traffic congestions, and again, Copenhagen, and I was there, I think in March this year, and I had a few demonstrations where, again, Copenhagen is quite well advanced on that. But traffic and congestion should be more addressed. All of us, we are paying a high cost because of traffic, because of congestion. So I will really encourage one exhibition like ITS to see what can be done, And clearly, if you are talking about a new city like Abu Dhabi, for example, those cities are new. They came built from nowhere in the desert, and they have been adapted to the number of vehicles today. But more historic cities, they have been building. They have not been prepared to host the number of vehicles we have now. So it's something which needs to be urgently addressed, and it's something I discuss very often with mayors, with the managers of C40, because it is a strong priority. And I'm very much looking also to see what ITS participants are able to present. And finally, one word of what we do with FIA. We have initiated some program which we call Smart Cities, and we try to see what can be done to make the cities smarter. Incidentally, we want to encourage the introduction of electric car in cities. That's why we have been creating this Formula E championship, and clearly we want to demonstrate that to have one electric car in city will be very helpful. And we know that at the moment with an electric car you cannot intend to make a long trip for two reasons: limit of capacity and time of recharging. But I will really encourage to use electric car in cities, and all that I'm sure will be presented, and I'm very excited to be able to see what we are going to have as presented here in Copenhagen, and I thank you all for what you can do also to release the message because I feel you have one essential job. And you know, when I speak with governments and when going back also on road safety, I mean, I don't think it would be fair to say they are the only one to have the responsibility to address this pandemic. But every single road user has a responsibility, and you as media, you have a responsibility to support us in addressing this terrible scourge. Thank you.
Thank you for that passionate presentation. So now we come to our next panelist, Mr. Ludger Frentzen, who is Executive Director of the Volkswagen Group. Mr. Frentzen has been heading the new business department and is in charge of assessing future business opportunities for the Volkswagen Group and for its brands. Please be welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Very warm welcome from Volkswagen. Thank you very much for coming and to listen to us. I think it's a very important topic what we are presenting here and what we are talking about here. And I think Volkswagen has a part of solutions for the future, and we are looking forward to talking with you and bringing forward our future topics related to green mobility and urban development. And this is our goal: make the mobility of people and goods in cities even more efficient, more sustainable, and cleaner. And we are absolutely aware that we cannot do it alone. We have to do it with you together with you, with city representatives, with industry partners, with public institutions, with the public in general, and we need you also as journalists to bring this topic much more on the heads, to the people, and also on the headlines of the newspapers. Would be, I think, a very good topic if from the ITS Copenhagen we can do a little bit more public relations in that direction. I think that is common sense. Our mobility of the future is a joint task, and the Volkswagen Group aims at being a close partner of cities and industrial partners. Together, we want to shape the urban future and the urban mobility on a long term. That is clearly our message, and we want to enable safe, efficient, and sustainable mobility, and that comes together. This is our aspiration, and this is why we have firmly anchored new mobility solutions as core pillar of our new strategy, Volkswagen Strategy 2025. And that is a very big message for a company like us. We are doing hardware, we are making cars, and we are changing in a dramatic way, and I will explain it a little bit more. One topic is that we believe that it is particularly important to put people's needs in the focus. We are talking a lot about technique and hardware, and but when it comes to develop new mobility solutions and to find answers also on the questions we had before, then it is important to put the people, not only customer, the people in the center of our vision. Our clear objective is to improve people's quality of life in cities, and as a sponsor of the ITS World Congress and a strategic partner of Ertico, ITS Europe, we are significantly expanding our commitment in the ITS industry. And we are actively supporting the organization of the next ITS World Congress in 2021, together with our partners, are in the room here, of the city of Hamburg, and together, of course, with Ertico. What will you experience here in Copenhagen with us? Let me give a brief overview. This year, Moja, our mobility as a service company, it's a totally new company within Volkswagen, introduced its app-based on-demand ride-sharing service. We started in Hanover and we're going to Hamburg now. On Tuesday, my colleague and Moja CEO and friend Ola Harms will be able to tell you more about this. It's a very challenging program, and I give you only a short advice. Go there, have a look. This is the future for us. Yeah, I think it's one of the most important launches we do in this year. And you know, in the car industry, in the car manufacturer Volkswagen, normally cars are the most important launches. And I think one of the most important things we do this year is the launch of Omoya in Hanover and Hamburg. Together with KUKA, we are currently developing Carla, that is the first mobile charging robot for electrical cars. You can see it here. We'll show you how the charging of electrical cars can operate fast, easily, and autonomously. From 2019, our volume cars will be featured with VLAN-P technology. You can see lots of things around that here also in our exhibition. In Wolfsburg, we are currently testing and working on rolling out smart energy management systems known as smart grid. We have some information about that here also. Volkswagen Financial Services has set up a dedicated mobility unit to offer smart parking, fuel charge card solutions, as well as toll services and a rental and car sharing model. Also there we have some good information about. Beginning of 2019, that is something I like very much. Volkswagen brand is planning to launch the City Skater. That is a last mile surfer, rides fully electrical at speeds of up to 20 kilometers. We have an example here, so have a look. Scania is developing urban solutions in the context of Scania Sustainably City Solutions. These will optimize the traffic flow of people, goods, and also waste. Very interesting topic. And provide autonomous and seamless on-demand transport systems. There we have also some more information on the exhibition. Each project, I think, is extremely important, and I'm passionate about each of them. And it's nice to see how they move forward. But a lot of other activities are in the pipeline. Our company is changing in that. I can say it once more, cars is not everything. And so to achieve our vision to be better and to improve also the life of our people and to have a mobility of the future that is different, the Volkswagen Group will invest around 34 billion euros until 2022. That is my message for today. In e-mobility, autonomous driving, connectivity, and new mobility services. So 34 billion euros in 5 years. That's a lot, and you can imagine how many cars you can build for that. But the company has decided to put it in a different way. So we have some objectives. Of course, one topic within this program is traffic safety, to increase traffic safety. But that's not everything. We have to have a close look on the air pollution, on air quality. We want to improve there. The third target is, of course, traffic efficiency. I think everybody here in this room has his own experience with that problem. But it's not only about that. It is, in general, about improving and increasing the quality of life of people. And one thing I want to say it again, is clear for us, we cannot do it alone. We will not be able to solve the challenges of urban mobility alone. This has to be a common task and a common goal also, and so we have to work together with others. Everybody is invited. Join us on our way. We would like to join partners on their way. There are a lot of partners. We have Hamburg, for example, is one of our partners. But there are a lot of technology partners. There's the FEI, and I think this is kind of the Formula One for us. To be fast, to be successful in a way that really matters. And thank you very much for that. And I hope to see you also in our exhibition. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Frenson. Very interesting. Okay, so our next panelist is Mr. Venish Shon. He is president of Huawei LT Solutions and is responsible for global operation of LT wireless home broadband, CV2X, CIoT, and Litra solutions. He is also vice chair of China ITS Industry Alliance. Welcome.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your coming, and also thank you for your invitation from ITS World Congress. Huawei, maybe not like Volkswagen, is quite famous for ITS. But anyway, we are for past 30 years we dedicated for the ICT field. So our vision, is to bridge the physical world and the digital world. We're trying to bring the digital world to each individual, family, and organization. And of course, ITS is very important part. So in order to improve the safer and more efficient this kind of ITS system, we are trying to say nowadays is a kind of a trend to bridge the ICT and the existing ITS industry. So we are thinking the first we have to connect all the elements in the ITS, world. In terms of the individuals, nowadays for globally ICT we have connected more than 5 billion individuals, which about 66%, and also we connect more than 1 billion family, and also in the world there are more than 100 million car already connected, while the LTE, that's 4G system, and also 5G if it comes, I think will be more car will be connected. And the second we think is nowadays is not only bring the digitalization to each kind of the elements, it's very important to get all the things to be connected. So only by connection each other, I think the information and controls that can communicate each other, that will bring this kind of digitalization to the intelligent. So we try a lot to bridge the industry of ICT and ITS world. That's why we co-founded the 5GAA together with a lot of car makers and ICT providers, operators, and trying to kind of cross knowledge and trying to design the future and the next generation ITS system. And for example, knowledge we are already together with the 3GPP frozen the LTE V2X standards already, and also we put it into the test and the pilots. For the past 3 years, we already have this kind of test and the pilots in different countries, like in Spain, UK, Germany, and of course in China. And then recently knowledge we together with more than around 40 players from global country like Audi, PSA, Ford, and Shanghai Motor, a lot of players. And also we are co-build this kind of LTE V2X that we call CV2X solution in China, in Wuxi, for the first commercial solution. We are launched more than 30 use case and trying to connect all the traffic signs, traffic lights, and car-to-car, car-to-infrastructure, no matter for the OEM original cars and all after-market cars, and even some existing car without this kind of equipment. We can using the mobile app to enable a lot of application. That we are trying to do, by this kind of commercial application, together with open ecosystem, trying to find the way how to design the next generation ITS system by fully connected all the elements in this environment. And we are foresee by the end of this year, there are more than 100,000 vehicles will connect in the Wuxi city of China. And also nowadays we discuss with more players in the ecosystem. That's why we come here and trying to discuss with more our old friends and meet new friends. We're trying to build the open platform like Volkswagen. It's I think for the future ITS system cannot be built by just several companies. That really need efforts from all the roles in the in different industry and contribute together and design together. That will really make these things happen and earlier to our public. So we during this kind of congress, we will launch end-to-end our solution. For the ITS in the future, no matter your automotive and some other solutions, there will be like all things sensors and also all things connected, as I mentioned, and all things will intelligent.
Are collecting data on the basis of all kinds of parameters. But in order to have a real impact on the quality of life of people, we need to bring all those elements together and build concrete solutions. And what we say is that the glue in order to make that happen is location. And this is what we do within Here Technologies. We are a location-based services provider. And we bring all the content together and we create what we call a reality index. And on the basis of that reality index, you can bring all kinds of parameters together in order to make sense out of it all. For example, if we're talking about road safety on a highway, it can be that we have a connected vehicle driving on that highway. It crashes into an accident and the airbags go off. The cause can be, for instance, rain. It can be heavy raining at that moment in time that another partner has, or that has been collected by another device along that highway. And it's only by bringing all those elements together that we can warn the upcoming traffic that something has happened there and that the speed needs to be lowered. And that is at the end of the day what we are all trying to achieve. And the speed of technology is going very fast. You can see it week by week, it is increasing. And I'm extremely happy that here around this table we have representatives from the government, policymakers, but also industry partners who are basically all collecting pieces of a puzzle. But at the end of the day, it's the puzzle that needs to be formed. And I fully agree also with you, it's only through partnerships that we really can make this happen. And that is why, as Here Technologies, we have decided to make our reality index open. So we are opening that up so that other partners, if it now is a startup, a big corporate company, a developer who wants to really make concrete solutions, we are opening that data up towards the public. And that is what we will be showing here this week as well. Next to that, we are also involved in a European project which is called Socrates, and that is about working together with an OEM and city representatives to bring all that data together and reduce the accidents on the highways. And there's 5 cities involved, among which Copenhagen as well. And there we are going to prove what can be done when we bring all that content together. So I would say have fun. Don't forget, it's about the quality of life. That is the ultimate goal. Technology is only the means. We are making progress. It is super exciting times, and that's why I'm extremely happy to be here this week. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our next panelist calls himself a serial entrepreneur. Mr. Freddy Sorensen founded SAFE in 2015 to improve road safety in Denmark and the rest of Europe. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Cordelia. So as said, we have come a long way here in Denmark with road safety, but we think we can come even further. We have developed this product. It's a safe traffic alarm. This alarm is installed in 1 out of 6 cars in Denmark already. That's more than 400,000 cars. And as told, my name is Freddy, and I founded SAFE 3.5 years ago, and work as innovator. That's my passion. What is this traffic alarm? I'd like to tell you a little bit about. It's a community-based, cloud-based system where the users, the drivers, help each other to report the traffic incidents they see. So it's quite simple. We have 2 buttons. The red button is pressed if there's an incident like accident, lost goods, car on shoulder, or congestion. And that way they press the button, and within a short time other drivers will be aware of that and can take action. And we also have the blue button that's used to report speed controls. So, but that was the old device. I'm here today, or we are here, the company, at the ITS World Congress to present our newest device, and you are actually the first one to see it. So we are really excited to be here at the World Congress to present this new one. The main difference from the old one to the new one is that we have added a display so we can tell much more about what's going on in traffic. And I would like to mention 5 features. Emergency vehicles. If an emergency vehicle is coming, then we can get an alert on the display that emergency vehicle is coming from, like backwards. And then the emergency vehicle, an ambulance, can get faster and safer to its destination. We have also looked at accident at level crossings. So we will get live signals from trains. So when we are approaching a level crossing and a train is coming, we will get an alert. We have also added a crash detect function. A crash detect function like eCall, but this one here will, while the cloud send a message when the car is in a crash to the other driver. So within a few seconds, the car behind will know there's an accident and can brake, so we can avoid pile up and stop the accident. And later on, the simple device can also be used as a simple eCall function that can send a signal to the emergency central. We have looked at another function is when cars enter the motorway in the wrong direction. It's what we call ghost drivers in Denmark or wrong-way drivers in English. Then they will get an alert and make them turn around right away. And finally, we also care about the small ones. So we have also added a function that if a car is near school in the time when the kids go to and from school, they will get an alert that they should take care. Why are we here at the Congress? Yes, we are, of course, here to present this new device, which is a platform for the future. We can add a lot of new functions to this device, endless possibilities. And our ambition here is to meet meet partners and traffic experts all around the world, like the other speakers here, and discuss what can we do about road safety. Thank you very much.
From Executive Intelligence Review, and I want to ask a question about interface with high-speed rail and creation of new cities, because we have promoting an idea of massive build-up of infrastructure internationally, which is coordinated also with the Chinese New Silk Road, the Belt and Road Initiative, which is the biggest infrastructure project in history, 12 times bigger than the Marshall Plan, and is now being extended not only in Asia and in certain parts of Europe, but also into Africa, into South America. So if anybody could respond about how you see the interface with high-speed magnetic levitation trains and also the building of new cities along the new lines.
Who would like to answer that question? Jakob's going to go. Go for it.
Well, we when we develop the city of tomorrow, and tomorrow is already being here, as you say, there are a lot of investments going on in the future infrastructure, in the data network, and so on. So we are not particularly working on the project that you're mentioning, but I'm just saying that what we do is that we bring together all the stakeholders, and we here, as I mentioned, we have here all the different sectors represented that needs to work together to find solutions for what you are explaining as the future big infrastructure projects. Within Ertico, as such, we have 8 different sectors. So we have the telecom, we have the suppliers, the vehicle manufacturers, the public authorities, and so on, and the users as the FIA members. So what we are doing is we are trying to build the future together and taking into account the challenges that we have from all the different developments that are happening within the different modes. So again, I cannot tell you on any particular challenges that we have with that infrastructure project, but I can tell you that those who are developing this are involved somehow in what we do when we develop the city of the future. So we have many challenges along the way, and Huawei can tell us a lot about this, and so can he, and Volkswagen. So we have many challenges that we have to overcome when it comes to communication systems for the future and so on. But this particular project, I don't know anything about it. But if it's a challenge, then we will take that challenge when it develops.
Yeah, maybe I can make a little bit regarding the ICT. You know, China they built a lot of express train the past years, and we found the communication requirements on this express train is huge, even more than the rest of the territory. That's the reason for the past 2 years we together with the operator to build the dedicated coverage network, provide sufficient broadband the service there, and also of course some control systems for the train system. And nowadays also we are on the way to provide the similar services to other countries. I think for the ICT parts, probably we can contribute a little bit. It's anyway. But for your projects, really have a few idea about that. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so
If I may, 2 questions, please. The first one is to Mr. Carsten Nielsen. Do you anticipate that by hosting the Congress, you will obtain higher approval of public investment into ITS? And second question may go to Mr. Jacob Bongard. Couple of speakers mentioned the need that puzzle has to be built all together through joint effort. However, is there formal commitment from European Union or ERTICO that all those ITS solutions will make European ITS as open access in terms of having technical solutions which are interoperable and compatible with each other coming from America and Asia?
who would like to go first? Do we have the City of Copenhagen?
Yes, I believe the first question was directed to me. Do we expect more public investments due to this Congress? Yes and no. Our aim is not the investment as such. Our aim is to provide better living conditions for the Copenhageners, and we are in a constant dialogue with government in how we can improve this. One example is that we would like to introduce road pricing. It's a very complicated system, so we would like to be like a tryout area here in Copenhagen on road pricing. Another issue is environmental zones, where you can have more heavy regulations on lorry transportations and so forth, which has become more and more necessary due to all the internet commerce, which takes up a lot of transportation for all these packages. So we are in constant dialogue with government on giving us the circumstances to improve the livelihood and through environmental requirements to improve transport systems. My point is here that it's not only the money that make the transport systems more intelligent, it's also having the right regulation in place. And our expectation is that by hosting a congress like this one, we will move up this issue on the agenda of both government and municipalities, not only Copenhagen, but of course also the surrounding municipalities. So by moving this up on the agenda, we hope to have more focus, better regulations, and perhaps also investment. And finally, I'd like to say that we do have a lot of Danish companies, SAFE is one of them who is present here today, who are looking into this area. And we would love to see more cooperations between Danish companies and foreign companies on these issues.
And to your question to me, so we have a very close cooperation with the European Commission when we are trying to develop European solutions. And then we have the cooperation on an international scale with the standardization bodies, for instance, but also with the activities that are happening in the US, Japan, China, etc. Through our partners or through cooperation with ITS America, ITS Asia Pacific, etc. Like we are organizing this Congress together with these two other organizations and the European Commission. So, of course, we know that there are challenges when it comes to standardization and interoperability of systems. But this is something which is becoming more and more important as our partners, like the ones sitting here, they are operating on a global level, and that means that they cannot afford to develop solutions on a national level. And that is, of course, helping us a lot that they're less and less have an interest in developing national solutions, and especially not the industry. They do not have that interest. So that's why, for us, we see it as one of our key targets is to make sure that we follow very closely what happens in the US, Japan, China, Korea, Singapore, you name it, and we have very close cooperation with them, and we meet them at the ITS congresses. We visit them with delegations to learn what they're doing, and they visit us to learn what we are doing to make sure that we are developing, we have the common goals.
Thank you.
So yes. Oh, but I think this gentleman on the way. You're passing, so there. Great.
Hi, my name is Dahl, Flemming Dahl. I'm coming from Oslo, Norway. I just wanted to be sure that I got Mr. Jean Todt correct. I got him, I understood him to say that car producers deliver different levels of safety to different markets. If I got you right, that might be the same car, but with or without an airbag. And I would think Volkswagen here would be among them. And is it like you would like a kind of minimum standard in the world, even in a country where there's not a market in the beginning, you would like to have?
I think every human being has the same right.
Yeah.
Whether you are Danish, French, or Colombian, or Nigerian.
But there you have a problem with, for example, Volkswagen.
I mean, I don't think we should be specific with it, because as I said in my presentation, I mean, some manufacturers have about the same standard in all the countries. Unfortunately, it's not the case for all the manufacturers.
Okay, but you would like an international agreement?
Yes.
For that. Thank you.
Okay. So we have 5 minutes left. So this gentleman.
My question is for you, Mr. Sorensen. Your invention looks pretty interesting, and I'm just wondering, is it available around the world globally, or is it reliant on external technologies as well in order for it to work as it's designed?
The new one is not available worldwide, so or anywhere. It will be go on market in Denmark in November.
Okay.
So it's new, but the date of the ITS Congress, the launch date, so we have to tell about it here.
Okay.
Of course, it's depending on technology, like having information from railway services, from emergency services, and other thing we can easily put in from the beginning, like stopping wrong way drivers is just information from a map.
Okay. Thank you very much. I look forward to it coming to Canada at some point.
Oh, you're welcome.
Of IT International magazine. I was intrigued by Mr. Todt's comments about wearing helmets and the difficulty of getting people to do what they logically should be doing. Analogous to the bicycle problem, how are you going to get people to relinquish the steering wheel and the control of the car?
I mean,
How quickly will you get people to accept autonomous vehicles? I mean, in general, most people in Europe, at least, are not that keen.
But I mean, it's the same for simple things. I mean, 50 years ago, I mean, it was difficult for people when you told them that you need to put a safety belt. And now, I mean, in a developed country, you will not get into a car without putting a safety belt. So, I mean, people learn out of it. And that's why communication for me is essential. So we need to communicate, we need to teach people, I mean, starting from school, how to behave. And it's something we try to implement in various countries.
I can maybe just add to this with the autonomous driving part, that it's of course something that we work with in our developments and when we see that the trials is really what is needed, we need to show what it means to have an autonomous vehicles driving in mixed traffic, for instance. And you will always have concerns among the general public for this. Even here in Copenhagen, there was a lot of concern also with the metro not having any control any driver, and now I don't think that anyone is scared of going into the metro when they have tried it once. So it's a matter of you have to see it, you have to try it, and that is what we're offering you as well out here, to see how far are we with the technology today and what is out there. Then at a certain moment we have to move this into real driving situations and to show that it is actually possible to have these vehicles driving on the roads. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the permission to actually make them drive on the roads here, because this is still a challenge for the regulation in this field. But as soon as we solve that part as well, then we can show you that you wouldn't have to drive just on the parking. You could actually go all the way to the metro, all the way to the city center.
But maybe you join us in 2021 in Hamburg.
Yeah, it will all come together.
That's great. I think that brings us an end to our press conference on that note, because actually now you're going to see the demonstrations. So I think